Babies. Are we live? Can someone say something?
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Brilliant. Thank you.
All right. Hopefully, you all can hear me well. This is Surfcast number 4. Probably going to be the most exciting Surfcast so far. You know what I'm saying? um, got some fun stuff to cover here. So, let me make sure this whole. Okay, cool. Everyone's muted. Any of the mods, whoever has the authority, feel free to just mute people when needed in here. And I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. So, good talking to you guys again. I've been having a fun trip with my family. Got some good R&R, and also been doing a lot behind the scenes for surf and thinking through a lot of different things that I'm really excited about. Very few of which I'm actually at liberty to share here today, but the most exciting thing in the near term is definitely going to be this Inferno.finance piece, which I will be talking to you guys about today. Um, but let's go ahead and start with kind of where we're at with everything else, get you updated on the towel, the beach, and the state of, Ethereum as a whole. And now these other competing chains really, really starting to take off in terms of volume as we've needed it to happen because of the craziness with the Ethereum gas fees. But I think that Surf has a pretty cool plan for how we're going to address all this moving forward. And I think it's going to be something that gets copied by a lot of other projects. And the plan is basically to keep the most valuable stuff we have, which is, basically the Whirlpool and the token contract itself, um, on Ethereum, where I think we're getting some of the best security in the world when it comes to decentralized systems. Um, it just makes sense to me. And we basically have now figured out this way through XDAI and Binance Smart Chain and uh, Matic and their new Polygon stuff, which is basically a rebrand. Um, they all have they all can communicate back to the main Ethereum mainnet. So we can actually have projects that we can launch across pretty much any of these other chains, and other ones that we can kind of keep in mind and consider as we're moving forward. It's like Polkadot. Um, what's the other huge one? Cardano. That's obviously blowing up right now. And I know there's some questions about this in the AMA questions channel, which I'll address that in more detail when I get there. But there's definitely a path to us branching out in terms of the other components of the ecosystem on these other chains, and then they can feed rewards back to the main Ethereum chain, and we can actually do this just like we've done with the existing systems, where the calling of the different functions are incentivized through something like Atlantis Core. So there will actually be functions and contracts very similar to Atlantis Core running on XDAI, running on BSC, and running on Polygon, where you guys will basically go fight to be the first ones to call those functions, which will send rewards back to the main chain, back to the Surf ecosystem on Ethereum, or maybe to the Whirlpool directly, and you'll get rewarded for doing that. So we're going to have a pretty cool system spread out across a number of different chains. From our perspective, every new chain that pops up is a potential target as long as it ties into these other existing ones like XDAI. And I would guess that moving forward, any new chain is probably going to want to have direct integration with something like XDAI by default. Otherwise, uh, they're probably just going to miss a real opportunity to grow their market share, because Ethereum at this point, and I think one thing, I'll touch on this again later in the questions, but one thing people need to realize is they're hearing a lot of these words that might be scary, like XDAI, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon. They're all basically cloning Ethereum in some way, or they function exactly the same. And you can actually just use MetaMask to interact with all of them. So in your MetaMask, it says like Ethereum mainnet at the top. And if you've never messed around with this, you can actually change the network that you want to connect to and use one of the Ethereum test nets, or you can use one of these other chains that I'm talking about right now. And so it's actually very easy. There's just some details you got to type in, and uh, it's kind of stored there, and you can switch over very quickly from MetaMask. And I believe this works on mobile as well. So with MetaMask Mobile. Um, so really, we're just talking about other chains that function exactly like Ethereum, but they currently they don't have the market that Ethereum has, and they're naturally cheaper with transactions, and then they also have different um, consensus algorithms. So they're using, I think in XDAI's case, it's proof of authority. I don't know exactly how many validators there are, but there's some good ones. I think MakerDAO is a validator, so they're behind the stablecoin DAI, which I'm sure you guys have seen. So to me, that feels a little bit more legit than just the 21 Chinese validators on BSC. But at the same time, um, it's not like Binance is just going to run with everyone's money right now. They're a massive company. They've obviously gained a lot of respect and a lot of trust in the crypto sphere. And I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. So it's kind of cool that we can now have projects on these other chains, and they can have a way to communicate back to our home base on Ethereum, where the goal still is to just have people sitting in the whirlpool and getting their passive income. So to me, it's not nearly as big of a deal to have kind of, a one-time fee in terms of an Ethereum gas fee for a transaction when you're staking in the whirlpool versus something like a towel, where you're specifically getting it to earn long-term passive income, and that it's significantly less than what most people are probably staking in the whirlpool. And so the gas alone might invalidate the entire idea of minting it. So that's kind of what we're dealing with today, which is, yeah, gas is stabilized a little bit from the crazy consistent highs over like 200 Gwei that it was hitting last week. But uh, right now is actually, it's getting lower. But honestly, this is like criminal if we just think back to like a year ago. And I know there's not, uh, I don't know. I don't know if there's a fix coming soon. It sounds like there might be something in the summer with EIP 1559, but I didn't actually see the result of that. So maybe someone in general can update me with what ended up happening. I think there was a vote there. But we're working against some miners right now that don't really want to see the network work as intended, because they're making a lot of money off of this right now. But that's why we have these other chains. And so I'll just go ahead and say that I'm completely open to launching the stuff that we have ready, the towels, the beach. I don't know about the Surf Stacker Plus, just because it's like integrated with this other Restacker contract and Surf Stacker contract that's already on mainnet. Um, but the other things, I could see something like XDAI being the perfect place to launch the towels, because the transaction fees are so small. I can actually airdrop everyone's towel, even on, like the sushi side, the people that would qualify for it. I can airdrop everyone's towel for like dozens of dollars, as opposed to probably $10,000+ if we wanted to do that on Ethereum. So that's pretty attractive. And then it's not too difficult to get Surf over to XDAI where it can funnel into the beach and pay out all these towels, uh, because it's only one transaction to get through, and we will have that being incentivized through Atlantis Core. So there will be a bunch of you that are paying attention to that, that are pushing those transactions through every time it makes sense. Like, let's say you have a threshold of like 10,000 Surf before the function can be called, which then sends those Surf over to the beach on XDAI. I guess my concern about any of that is just simply it's not Ethereum. It's more for people to learn, and it's just not ideal in that regard. But it doesn't mean it's not the right solution. So it's something I've been thinking through. I obviously want to get this out. I hope everyone realizes that, like, there's nobody more disappointed about like not being able to release finished work than like myself and probably Soldev, the people that were working on this stuff and want to share it with you all. So we know it's going to be a big deal when we do it. We just want to do it right. It still just doesn't seem like it makes sense to do on Ethereum, because even if we have a little breather in the gas prices right now, it's more than anything a marketing tool to attract a bunch of people from the sushi community, and then a bunch of people that like kind of crazy swing trading, because I think the towels present a very interesting opportunity for people that pay attention to I guess arbitrage opportunities like that. And I think they'll have a lot of fun with it, but they're not going to have fun if it's massively expensive to process those transactions on Ethereum. So it could be a great kind of tool for us to show off on another chain and get some more eyeballs on us and kind of show people, I think, how a project can spread out across multiple chains without actually like taking the core product off of Ethereum, which I think is largely a mistake if that's the move people are thinking that they should make. Um, but the landscape can change, and more than anything, I just don't want us to be stuck in something. So I do think a move to like XDAI could be fine because of how cheap it is to do things. And if we ever had to move somewhere else, it's just not a big deal. We as a community can just cover all of those transaction fees and stuff, and nobody should really be bothered by that. Whereas it's a lot more painful when we launch the towels on Ethereum and then realize the whole system just can't work right now because of those gas fees and no one wants to touch it. So now we need to migrate off, but we need to make sure all the people that originally staked are fine, and it's going to be expensive migrating off of Ethereum. So, um, it's just one of those things that I don't think that there is an answer really right now for what's perfect. And that's why, um, at least in my mind, it made sense to put those on pause, because they're done. We can deploy them as soon as it makes sense to. And we might as well get some other projects and things finished so that we can release even more all at once we decide how we're actually going to go about this. So let's transition into something really exciting, um, that's going to do, I think it's just going to it's going to be the thing that gets a lot of eyeballs on us and will hopefully um, be a continuation of the experiment that we had when Surf first launched, without kind of all the chaos surrounding the event and all the people like unstaking and trying to game the event. So what's going to happen is we have this thing called Inferno.finance. This was it was a name and an idea that was brought to me by someone in another group who wanted basically to bring Surf to BSC. They thought the LGE, right, the liquidity generation event that we had, was awesome, and it was we had so much volume. It was so cool to see the massive rewards just pouring in. I mean, many of us were just earning 5,000 APY for like 10 days, and it was just kind of crazy. And it was fun. So kind of seeing all those numbers tick up in real time, it was an exciting thing. So this person basically said they were going to bring this to BSC, and then I kind of started thinking about it a lot. and was like, I don't know if you can really just do a straight one-to-one copy of Surf, because Surf is a community product at the end of the day, or the community itself is kind of what we are, and the underlying platform can mold to fit who we are as a community. Something like, if you can't really just copy and paste the whole concept of like the fund that we're building here and the contributions that so many in the community have been making, and something like community locked liquidity in general, I don't really think makes sense for some Surf clone. Like, Surf isn't something that I think you just clone across like every chain and actually treat them all exactly the same. So what I mean by that is, the Inferno stuff we want to do, there won't be a governance aspect. There won't be community locked liquidity. It's all going to be like literally fully trustless once it goes live. There won't be any ability for these variables to be tweaked like we can with Surf. Um, and there won't be some pool of money that is investing in other projects. That pool of money will basically just have an automated setup where it's reinvesting into Inferno in a kind of a cool way. Um, but so Inferno is really a in one sense, it's Surf finance on steroids. And what I mean by that is simply the numbers that are going to be involved with this. It's just kind of, think of it as just a more aggressive, exciting Surf. Like, Surf is a long-term play, and I've never wanted to sell it as anything but that. It's something you just sit and stake and get your passive income, or you can play it all sorts of other ways. But at its core, I just want it to be a fun long-term passive income thing. Inferno.finance is obviously very similar because it's going to be building off a similar code base in terms of the Tito contract, but it's just going to be more exaggerated. So an example of that is, rather than a 1% transfer fee, Inferno is going to have a 3.33% transfer fee. And rather than like right now, the Whirlpool has a 25% unstaking fee, and the Firewhirl, which is actually a real thing. You guys can Google Firewhirl. There should be a Wikipedia setting or a page for it. That will have a 33.3% unstaking fee. And so it's heftier, right? But the rewards during the farming phase are going to be bigger even than what Surf was. So at a high level, Inferno.finance is Surf on steroids, but it's also Surf light in that it doesn't have the community locked liquidity or the governance aspect that I was talking about. So think of it as like the launch of Surf, in a cooler way, and then it should have some very interesting mechanics that will just keep things spicy for the remainder of the life of the token, which will be forever, because it's going to have a very similar like hodl mechanic where it'll be obvious to everyone that simply by holding out, you're going to do much better than others. If you're impatient, you're not. I mean, people are going to learn over time that almost every single one of these proof products or dApps or things that I'm involved in is going to like be pushing that theme of patience pays off. And you'll see that again with Inferno, but it's also going to be super exciting as it's launching. And we're not only going to attract the patient to Inferno. I'm just, in general, I'm saying that the patient will likely be rewarded the most, and you won't even have to think about it. Just be patient, and these systems are designed to work out for you in the long run. So I'm going to just read you guys some specifics about Inferno, and you'll probably notice what some of the differences are to how we launch Surf, but I'll also be reviewing those kind of once I go through these. So here's just kind of some quick facts on it. So there will be 100 million token total supply. So that's 10 times more than Surf. 3.33% transfer fee on all transfers involving Inferno. Surf is 1% right now. And I guess I'm just saying these changes as I go. I'm just going to keep up with this. The other difference when it comes to that transfer fee stuff is it won't be it, you can't modify it down the line. It's always just going to be hard coded at this number. There won't be a governance aspect to be looking forward to or concerned about, depending on how you view those things. I know a lot of people view governance in general as, honestly, just kind of a meme, and I think it's mainly because the approaches to governance so far haven't really been that great. Ideally, Surf will flip that on its head when we eventually come out with ours, but Inferno just isn't. I want to make it very obvious that I'm like not trying to move on to some other project, and you're gonna realize very quickly that this is exactly what I had always meant when I said we would expand the Surf ecosystem with these other dApps that feed back into the Whirlpool. Um, but you'll see here as I kind of lay out how these fees and things get broken up. I'm not like looking to just enrich myself here. These projects are made to enrich the Surf community as a whole. So if you hold Surf, if you're in the Whirlpool, we are going to be releasing things on other chains that you don't even have to think about. You don't have to participate. You don't have to put money on those chains. You can just know they exist and know that they are driving demand to our token on mainnet, because that's where you got to get the Surf to start with. We only have Surf right now on XDAI and BSC because we transferred it over there from mainnet. So when you move one Surf from Ethereum mainnet over to XDAI, it basically gets frozen in a contract on Ethereum, and it can't move from that contract until the Surf has returned from XDAI. So we're never actually surpassing that 10 million supply. Just kind of as a background thing for you guys to know. Um, but yeah, so I'm going to keep going through some of these, and you'll realize that this should be pretty dang bullish for Surf. So there's going to be a staking fee, just like we had for the beaches when Surf launched. This is going to be an 11% staking fee into these farm pools. I think we're just going to end up calling them farm pools. I don't I don't really have a clever name for them with the Inferno theme, outside of like circles, and I don't really want it to feel like some descent into hell. It's just kind of a cool FOMO concept, like we're the hot new thing that's coming out, and this should catch a lot of attention. I know a lot of people are already very interested, so there will be a 11% staking fee when you're staking into any of these farm pools. Now, a big change over the Surf launch is we're not going to be accepting LP tokens. This is going to be single asset staking. The current plan right now is to basically have something like 20 farm pools, um, probably just take like the top 20 tokens on PancakeSwap or whatever. Like as long as we know they're not a bunch of rugs and stuff, like we'll do some vetting and make sure they've at least been around for a bit and have healthy volume and they didn't just appear overnight. But um, it should be pretty easy for us to market this to the people that have these tokens on Binance Smart Chain, because they don't even have to worry about being a liquidity provider and staking LP tokens. They can just stake, for example, BNB into Inferno, and they will earn Inferno at 5,000% APY until the max supply gets hit. So that's 100 million token max supply. And then I'm adding a unstaking fee, which is new to Surf, or sorry, new to this. It's something Surf didn't have. And now the difference with this though, because I don't really just want to like add fees unnecessarily. This is a fee that you will only actually have to pay if you unstake before the max supply is hit. And this is actually, I think it's going to help a lot. If we would have had that in place for Surf before the event, that entire situation actually could have gone much differently, just because of the number of people that unstaked before the event trying to time it and time their sell perfectly. So this once again is a mechanic that's basically punishing the impatient. So that I'm looking forward to kind of seeing how that works, because there's plenty of impatient people and they're the reason Surf works right now. There's just a lot of free money in the Surf ecosystem that exists and will be there for the hodlers, because of those early people that unstaked, and they've just kind of made it so all the math surrounding this works moving forward. So now here's where this gets fun for Surf, and I hope that this blows your mind a little bit, because at least the people who are aware of this so far, it kind of blew their mind. So Surf will be a token that has a farm pool. So you will be able to transfer your Surf from Ethereum over to Binance Smart Chain and stake it in Inferno. And Surf is the only token that will not have to pay that 11% staking fee. So there will be no staking fee on Surf. This is the only advantage that a token has. Like, this is basically a Surf only thing. Inferno is launching as a Surf Launchpad project. This isn't like some competing thing. Like, this is under the Surf umbrella. This is Surf branching out onto another chain, launching a really cool product. I think it's going to get a lot of volume. And Surf holders, I think more than anything, are going to benefit from this, because it's kind of a no-brainer to just get a bunch of Surf that you get to stake for free over there. You're basically just paying that main transaction fee to get off of Ethereum. I'm planning on doing this. What I mentioned in general yesterday, I'm not sure how many of you might have missed this, but there were a couple larger buys that you probably saw go through. One of the things I did yesterday is we had this position with it's index.finance. It's their DeFi 5 token, which I actually love, and we're going to be getting more of. But honestly, Surf in the low 30s is probably one of the best value buys in crypto, in my opinion. So I figured it made sense to at least temporarily liquidate that DeFi 5 position, and I moved 62 Ethereum total back into Surf. So now the community has about 400,000 Surf. You can just see it in the deployer wallet. All of that is going to be staked into Inferno on behalf of the Surf community. Right now, the plan is to give all of it to the Whirlpool, but I could see that changing slightly, maybe sending up to 20% or something of the Inferno that's brought in from that community Surf to other things. Like, I would honestly send some to like the Boardwalk for the governance holders if that is out. And so I'll probably make that adjustable, but I would guess like 80% or so is going to go back to Whirlpool stakers. So what that means is anybody who currently has a stake in the Whirlpool, without having to know anything about Binance Smart Chain, you will be earning a lot of this token called Inferno just for your stake in the Surf Whirlpool. And we're going to be doing this a lot. I can actually see something like Inferno kind of, I don't know if cloned is the right word, but maybe tweaked and relaunched. And I always kind of want to see a different experiment each time. I wouldn't want to just like run with the same numbers or whatever, but it could be interesting to put those up on some of these newer chains that pop up, knowing that we have a model that works and it can feed back into Ethereum mainnet. I don't know. I don't know what you guys are thinking about that, but I'm like incredibly bullish on being able to stake a significant amount of Surf, and other people can buy a significant amount of Surf, knowing that there's a way to get Inferno from it without any risk. So let's see what else here. Who's typing? I hear some typing. So the Fire Whirl, right? So that's basically going to be the Inferno's Whirlpool, and it's going to have a 33.3% on staking fee, and some percentage of that. The number I've just kind of come up in my head with right now is 3.3% of that 30. So 30% would be left for just the Fire Whirl or whatever, and then 3.3% I think would be going back to everyone that has their Surf staked in Inferno. So if you can kind of imagine that there's like 20 of these farm pools that are all farming Inferno for staking that token, and then you have Surf, which is a farm pool, but it's a unique one because no one staking Surf had to pay a staking fee, and they only have to pay the unstaking fee if they did that before the max supply of 100 million Inferno was hit. So you have A lot of surf. I'm kind of anticipating somewhere in the 2 million surf range is probably gonna be locked up in Inferno within, like, a week of this thing launching, maybe in a day, to be honest. Just knowing the amount I'm gonna lock up, knowing the amount that the community is gonna be locking up, it's right now, it's 400,000 minimum. We have more, community locked liquidity coming in every day because for whatever reason, people have decided that unstaking is the play, and we thank them because it's not the play, guys. I mean, if you're like on the fence about that, it's absolutely not the play. Um, you're gonna you're gonna want to be holding for when these things finally get launched. I mean, it. I understand the idea that it's like frustrating that there's these things that we've wanted to launch and haven't been launched yet, but like pretending like they don't exist, like we can launch these at any moment and I think we're going to kind of reap the reward that we're supposed to from it because they're quality things and it's really going to complete the ecosystem. So to those that have been unstaking for it's huge. We basically have been able to put I think we have $50,000 on both XDAI and Binance Smart Chain in liquidity for surf. It's I think the LP tokens are surf against DAI, so that's a stable coin pegged to a dollar, which is awesome. Now we have exposure. One of the funny things that happened actually when we first launched on BSC the other week, people, and this kind of gives you an idea of like the mindset of the average investor, I guess, on BSC. Maybe not the average, but there's a decent amount of these people on BSC that the moment we got listed on PancakeSwap, like we're not a new coin, right? We're Surf. We've been around since November. Um, we launch on BSC simply by adding some liquidity over there, and people instantly bought Surf up to $1.20 on Binance Smart Chain on PancakeSwap. And then I think there were a few in this community that saw the arbitrage opportunity, transferred a couple thousand Surf over from Ethereum mainnet and sold into that high price of Surf on PancakeSwap, which was it was hilarious. But now we have 3 chains, and we're gonna have 4 pretty soon once we kinda get some more unstaking fees and we can move some liquidity over to Polygon. And then I think it'll make sense to do with at least 2 other chains over the next month or 2. So we're gonna have exposure all over the place. And the great thing is, it's only on decentralized exchanges. I know that if you guys are on CoinGecko, you'll see that we have another exchange. I think it's Bilaxy, Bilaxy. And as far as I can tell, it's like a garbage, scammy, centralized exchange. They fake their volume. They always have, some weird amount of volume, and the price is always like moving in the other direction than Uniswap. It's a whole bunch of things that make no sense. But all of our exchanges that we have decided to move on are all decentralized. They can all interact with each other across the different blockchains, and it's pretty dang cool. So I hope you guys are kind of excited about where our head is at with that. We're thinking beyond Ethereum, but not trying to abandon Ethereum. Overall, I don't think that that's the right play. Um, but either way, we're positioning ourselves in a way that, look, if we ever needed to, we can do that. And I know there's a question about that that I'll answer later, so I'll save that. But yeah, let's see. Jumping back to Inferno. Um, I think that kind of covered everything. So yeah, single asset staking. You're not staking LP tokens. You get to stake raw Surf, which is great because I think Surf is a fantastic token to have exposure to right now. It's the LP tokens are going to do well, but Surf will likely do better in the short term at least. So it's kind of cool that you can buy that and know that you're earning another asset, which the reality, guys, Surf's market cap is so low compared to what a lot of these other crappy projects are getting up to. Inferno could could pop and be something much bigger than Surf in terms of market cap very quickly. The key thing is a lot of that value is going to find its way back in the Surf ecosystem. And we're just going to be doing this all the time. We're going to have cool projects. Like people who saw the Surf launch and hopefully read through the Tito contract and stuff. It's honestly unique, innovative code. We took the sushi contract and like changed 105% of it. It's not the same contract at all. It's not even close. The whole concept was changed, and it became a model that worked, and it allowed us to do a fair distribution. So I'm super proud of it. It's kind of a weird thing, to be honest. I worked so long on that entire concept and the contract itself for Tito that it's weird that it just doesn't even exist right now in the surf ecosystem. It was a temporary thing to handle the distribution of the token supply. So I'm personally stoked to see this live again, and especially with some more aggressive numbers where it'll just be interesting to see how crazy these rewards get. The transfer fee is no joke at 3.33%. The unstaking fees are no joke. The patient are going to be rewarded, and the surf community, I think more than anything, is going to be rewarded. So that's Inferno. I have a lot more specifics that are going to be leaking out. We have art for it. We're going to probably be doing an art competition specifically for Inferno as well, so we can get a lot of stuff. We might be able to tweak kind of some of the cool infographics for surf that we already have, showing kind of the ones from CT636 that are showing the flow of all the rewards through the ecosystem. Like we could even just put X's over things and like rewrite the name, for the Inferno, and show like, oh, instead of the whirlpool, it's the fire whirl. Instead of the beaches, it's just farm pools. I hopefully anyone who was around for the launch of Surf will understand kind of what Inferno is very, very quickly, because the UI and everything will feel very similar. We're just going to be doing a kind of fire theme for it all. So yeah, something I'm excited about. A lot to talk about. I'm sure there's other questions and things that are coming about it. So I will wait for the questions for that. And then the final thing I wanted to touch on before getting to those is just a review of that latest art competition. So big thank you to every one of you that participated, everyone that voted. Big thanks to Golgotha for putting all that together. He even funded the prizes. The dude is honestly just on another level in terms of selflessness. He's an awesome person, and he really loves this community. And I'm very appreciative for him and being willing to put that together. And the results are pretty awesome. I don't know if you guys have all taken a look through. I hope you have. But we have a channel under the marketing little category. It's just art competition. And I mean, there's obviously some standouts that jump out. Like right when you land on this thing, if you're scrolled all the way down, Waging Bull has this proofs arc GIF that I think I stared at for like a half hour yesterday. Just checking out all of the detail, all of the oh man, there's just so many things going on. All the Leos on the boat, you got to find all the different Leos. The two Feels guys, it's awesome work there. What were like the big three? I want to say that those were the three winners. We have Waging Bull, we have Hole. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. Hole, with a man. That's an awesome piece. I'm gonna get that printed. I think maybe hang that in my son's room. He might love that. There was actually a funny day when I was first about to launch Surf, and my son basically said he had this dream where he saw a frog surfer. I don't remember if he said he was like having fun or blasting off or something, and I was like, oh, that's good. That's gonna be some good news. West Virginia with the awesome cutting board there, the Surf Finance. That is, oh, that's so cool, man. I think those were the big three, the most votes. So that was a lot of fun. Thank you to everyone that participated in that. We'll definitely be getting another one of those out, like I said, probably with Inferno next, which will be cool. Okay, let's hop over to the AMA questions channel. Bripto, starting off with an awesome first question. I appreciate it, man. He says, "Proof, how have you been?" So I've been doing really well. I've had a really fun time with my family. It was a good break. I had like 5 straight weeks of just kind of me and surf, and maybe not. Maybe it doesn't look like there's much progress going on, but there's a lot of things happening, and there's a lot of people to talk to, and a lot to juggle. And actually, an example of that, I believe tomorrow. I don't know how this is going to work, but I have an interview tomorrow with this Nomad Fury YouTuber who's pretty awesome. Um, Someone I think they're kind of new in their career, but they have the right mindset. And I think they're going to be fun to talk to. I don't know if it's actually airing tomorrow, so I'll keep you guys posted. But there's a lot of things like that we're getting lined up, which should be good in the long run. So, but yeah, I've been kind of enjoying my family, thinking really big picture on surf stuff. A lot of this Inferno stuff came together in the last week, getting it finalized, really thinking through the details, and we're going to be really prioritizing it. And there's a chance that I don't know, we can just release like 5 things at once, and it could be really good. I know, well, there's more questions. I'm like getting ahead of myself here, so I'm just going to keep going through the questions. But so thank you, Bripto. I've been great. I'm really excited about everything we have going on, and I hope you've been well too, man. Randall says, I know you will be diving into this, but I think an overview of Ethereum versus Binance Smart Chain versus 1inch versus et cetera, is important. And I agree. And I think I started going through that, but let's see some of your specific questions here. So, what are the similarities and differences? So, well, one important thing is 1inch, at least out of those three, as far as I know, they don't have a chain. Please correct me if I'm wrong, anyone. But 1inch is basically they find you the most efficient way to trade or path for a trade. So if you simply say, hey, I have this token and I want this token, it's going to look at all of the different decentralized exchanges and just get you the best deal. So it's actually a really useful service in that regard. And anybody who had used that thing previously got a really decent airdrop. So congratulations. I had not. So I missed out on that whole airdrop. I'm willing to accept anyone else's airdrop if they didn't want it, but it's different, obviously, than a chain like Binance Smart Chain or XDAI or Ethereum. But 1inch is kind of cool as well because they just branched out to Binance Smart Chain. And so I believe they have this flow where you can lock up one of your ERC20 tokens on Ethereum in their Binance Bridge contract. And you can then move it to Binance Smart Chain from there, I believe. I was just reading this the other day. It's like a very new thing from 1inch. It's like 4 or 5 days old. So I'll look for that Medium article they posted so you guys can take a look as well. But yeah, if you kind of drop 1inch from that equation and you just replace it with like XDAI. So it's a bunch of chains. Ethereum is the most decentralized. You might hear people refute that, but I mean, they're really just wrong. There's no possible way 21 Chinese validators has more security than Ethereum. So there's that. But everything else is basically the same in terms of the tooling. I guess the other major difference, I don't know what it is for XDAI. I want to say for Binance Smart Chain, the block times are 5 seconds. Ethereum's right now, I think, have been around 13. I know they were 13 when we launched, and I haven't really like looked at block times recently. And that basically tells you the fastest possible your transaction can go through, because well, I guess that isn't true, because you could submit a transaction like 4 seconds into a block, so like it gets instantly mined basically because you included it at the perfect time. So that's the longest a transaction that's using a gas price that's fast enough to be included into that block. That's the longest it would take, the 5 seconds. So faster overall, less fees, lower gas, but it's not as secure. It's not the world's computer. They're all copies of the world's computer, and it doesn't mean that they're not going to make it. I just don't think that they're ever going to have the sort of authority that Ethereum has in this space. I would probably look to some of these other ones that are popping up. Like maybe that's Cardano. I've done very, very little research into that. At the end of the day, I'm an open-minded person that would be willing to even move all of Surf to another chain if necessary. It's not like I'm just going to let this project or what we're trying to do here die because like, oh, well, we're just going down with Ethereum, I guess, if that's how it's going to go. Like, no. We'll figure out how to move out, snapshot, get everybody on a different chain, and we'll be cranking. But for now, to me, I think the path forward is definitely keep the home base on Ethereum and let's branch out as much as we can and just make sure we can send our rewards back home. So yeah, that kind of answers that next question, which is how can we use these to our benefit? I have been laying that out. How can people migrate their assets between chains, Surf or otherwise? So these chains use something they call them like an omni bridge. Um, I think someone has put together a really good guide, or at least a few people have. I'm not even going to try to re-explain these. What I'm going to do is ask people in general, maybe some of the mods, to post those guides and things we've been putting together about how those omni bridges work, how you add those settings to MetaMask. I know a lot of people have been waiting for that sort of information, and hopefully you can all realize that you're not like you're not missing out on anything, like especially if you're in the whirlpool. Like there doesn't need to be some like feeling of overwhelm because like you're just not sure about Binance Smart Chain or XDAI or how to use these things, especially if you're newer to crypto. Um, there's no doubt in my mind that this is kind of confusing stuff and it feels overwhelming. And that's why we're trying to make sure that you are aware of the fact that you're still going to be able to benefit from them by being in the whirlpool, even if you don't know how to use them or it just you don't have the time for it. It's too intimidating. It's all fine. You're still going to be taken care of. But yeah, we'll be posting some of those guides. Check the general chat for that. What are the risks? So this is kind of Randall's final question here. I've covered them a little bit in terms of it's not as decentralized. What that means is if you look at like Binance Smart Chain, for example, they those 21 validators could technically collude on a transaction and like just change the result of something. Let's say it was like a dice roll in a casino, or it was a major like loan liquidation on like a stablecoin platform or something. If it didn't work out in their favor and they were able to collude with enough of the other validators to have a majority say in what that block looked like, um, people can get totally shafted. Like you can actually have funds just stolen from you, and it's like they can change history basically. So it's a very I don't know, it's an interesting idea that there's it's cool, right? Because we get to use all the same Ethereum tooling and stuff. Even if you just view Binance Smart Chain and XDAI and these other kind of Ethereum clone chains as a test net, like a live test net, basically, to get your contracts out and have people with real money want to interact with them. But it's not as daunting as it might be on Ethereum, where you're paying a lot more to deploy contracts for one. And then it's a lot more to interact with contracts, which is both you as the developer and all of your users. So it's a lot less likely that you can just get out some kind of quick hobby project on Ethereum and expect people to use it with how expensive gas is, unless it's truly innovative. But if you're just kind of getting things out and you want to experiment, then I would actually totally recommend some of these other chains. It's really fun, like getting things live in a production environment, and there is real money that's moving around those chains. So if you're getting into that stuff, definitely take a look. But the risks really are um, what is it a risk that these validators can do that? I don't know. I don't know that any of us would ever have, like, the amount of money where we would be a target, but it's still, it still seems wrong to me in principle to like, I just don't think I could, like, move the whirlpool to something like Binance Smart Chain. It just it just goes against, I think, the point of what Surf is and the long-term security. And it doesn't mean that, like, I think Inferno isn't gonna be secure. It's just I don't know. You know, it's this is a hot topic right now in the crypto sphere. I have pretty strong opinions about it, to be honest. Um, I love Ethereum. I love decentralization. I love that we can create a product like Surf and networks that don't have those sorts of guarantees, or it doesn't seem quite as important, because that's why we have faster transactions and cheaper transactions on these other networks. They have decided that the overall security is not as important. And I don't know. That's not what I'm trying to drive home through an investment in the whirlpool. So yeah, those are kind of some of the risks there, and we can keep debating this. I'm totally open to it. Please share your thoughts and stuff in general. And I might not be able to get to it right now, but we can get back to it later. So yeah, thank you, Randall. Those were quality. I hope people have learned from kind of what I've been talking about along these lines tonight. CAG asks, what's been the biggest challenge you faced in building Surf so far? Hmm. I would probably just say, well, I guess it might be a cop out answer. I was going to say like time management, just because there's so many different parts to work with here and different people that I have to get back to and pieces I have to keep moving. And it's just a challenge trying to drive all of the things that you want forward with as much force as you would like to give it. Um, in terms of like actual surf project or something that's been the biggest challenge, I would probably just say like the full thinking through of the Tito contract and getting that contract done. That's kind of the best work I think I've ever been involved in. So I'm pretty proud of that. Lieutenant Sim. So I don't actually know how to pronounce this word. I'm going to say nootropics, but I want to say I've heard it nootropics. And I don't know which one is correct. So someone tell me. Um, but do I use any? I'm not actively using any. Well, I think I'm taking. I think I'm taking reishi, which is mushrooms, and then lion's mane, which is also mushrooms. I've occasionally taken like a modafinil when I'm like exhausted, but in general, I'm trying to avoid any like artificial sources of energy and stuff. It seems like it's probably just better to try to let my body sort those things out naturally in the long run. And that's kind of an example of like with the time management stuff of I got to make sure I'm getting enough sleep and taking care of myself as well, which I've historically been horrible at. Um, so I don't know. I kind of feel like, hey, if I'm getting so tired that I feel like I would have to take something like modafinil, which is like literally what people in the military can use to stay awake for multiple days at a time or when they have to stay alert. Um, it just seems like I should only be taking those things in extreme circumstances, not just when I'm like, oh, I'm just hanging out, working on surf and doing all this stuff at home, but I'm like losing track of time and only getting like 4 hours of sleep and whatever. That just doesn't make sense. Um, so yeah, I'm just kind of moving more towards the natural plant mushroom based stuff for now, but I'm a researcher and I just don't have time to do as much research as I would like on those things right now. So I'm sure when I dig into that again at some point in the future, there will be a number of things that I'm checking out because it's an interesting topic to me. Lord W asks, can you give us an update as to where things are with the casino? The last that I read, and I'm in like their beta testers channel, which it seems to be going very well. Um, last I read, they're super confident about a launch this month. Obviously, we're at the very start of the month, so it seems like it could be forever, but I wouldn't doubt that it's a lot sooner into the month. I can try to take a look at that again and update you tomorrow. But I know that they're pretty close. They're like finalizing, the integrations with the different slot providers and stuff. And there's a lot of them. So it's not really so much on the Topia or Bet Galaxy team at this point. It's like a lot of different operators and third party game providers that have to make sure everything is working perfectly on their end. So it's like this mass integration and testing of all of these operators over. It's what's been happening the last few weeks, and they're wrapping all of that up. So I think they're getting pretty excited about that launch, and that's going to be pretty huge for us guys. There's Surf is a first, what do we call it? A first class asset on there, which it's a playable asset. So you're going to be clicking through the betgalaxy.io UI and seeing the Surf logo, and you'll be able to bet with Surf. And I think that's going to be huge for the project. And of course, we have like 6.1% of their token supply. It's going to be earning the Whirlpool um, consistent revenue every week. So that's pretty exciting. Then that's, let's just call it like 2 to 3 weeks out, hopefully, which could align perfectly with kind of all this other stuff that we have, or at least be a part of that string of launches that we'd like to do. Your next question is, let's say something like Cardano dethroned ETH, what would Surf's plans be? So I kind of touched on that. We would move to Cardano. Like if it's truly this like, hey, what's the point of using Ethereum at this point when Cardano is doing all this stuff, and maybe they even make a path to migrating to them very simple. Um, that makes sense to me. I'm not going to fight that. So I would obviously talk to the community, and I'd be talking to a lot of people I respect and are familiar with kind of what the implications of all of that can be. Um, but then, yeah, I mean, we would make sure that the Surf community and token survives because, like I said, this is going to be around for the foreseeable future. We got to make sure it's running on the chain that makes the most sense for it. Okay, then you got this interesting little wall of text here. When it's cold out, I take warm showers and my legs get really dried out. I'm talking really dry. I've seen a doctor, but he won't refer me to a dermatologist. I tried goat's milk soap and it doesn't work. Plus, my wife is a vegan, so she hates it. What should I do about my dry and itchy legs? Let's start with that and have them tell you. And should I cook meat in front of my vegan wife or just go outside and use the barbecue out of respect? I mean, there's just so much background info I need, dude. So, does she find it disrespectful when you've ever cooked meat in front of her? Like, if the answer is yes, then yeah, go outside and use the barbecue, man. If you're trying to say like, do you just ignore that? I would say that's probably a bad idea because that's someone that you're going to be around for a lot the rest of your life. So you should respect her. Also, windsurf $60 and tell us why communism doesn't work. Surf $60, I don't think was in the too distant future from last I checked. And tell us why communism doesn't work. Well, I mean, it's just human nature, man. Like, I don't see how something like Surf Finance could exist under communism, and that's why it won't work because Surf has to exist. Hard Knock says, can you share a little bit about why you liked Index Finance? I'm also a big fan of their project. And do you anticipate their index as being the go to vehicle for future community fund investments? Um, so I like them because one, I know a few of the people involved, which is always fun. And It's a very similar underlying philosophy, I think, to surf, in that you just hold these investments that are, it's it's a fund. It's spread out across, I think, the one that we had, the DeFi 5. I believe that they say it's the top 5 DeFi projects. So kind of a cool way to get exposure to a lot of things, and saving gas, right? Which is very important. It's a lot cheaper to get a token like DeFi 5 than buying all 5 of those assets on their own separately, just because of gas. So that's really cool. I I anticipate their index as being the go-to vehicle? I don't know. I feel like it's just way too early to say in general. We're just at the beginning of all this, guys. There's like, I know there's a lot of like up and downs in the degen space in terms of, does it feel like there's a lot of hype right now or not? But things move a lot slower when you're talking about like the big time financial products, the people that are building synthetic assets and loans and passive income platforms like the Whirlpool. Um, there's I don't know. It seems like it's way too early in all of this to say, hey, this is going to be the go-to vehicle for future community fund investments. I think it's I think it's awesome. I think that it's going to get a lot of use. I think it's going to do very well. But we'll see. It's just too early to know what the go-to of anything is going to be yet, because we don't even have like we don't even have the chain figured out, right? Like, I think it's Ethereum, and it currently is, but there's so much competition right now when it comes to all this stuff that I just think we have to keep watching. We need to let all this shake out, and we need to cheer on all of the different innovative teams and projects that are throwing their hat in the ring and coming up with their own liquidity generation models and synthetic asset models, stablecoin models. It's Let's see, I'm not sure yet, but I do like their stuff a lot. Lord W again says, are there any other projects you've been involved in that you're willing to disclose or talk about? Not really in crypto. Like, I've helped teams. Done like, I did some stuff with the Topia guys, and uh, I don't think I really did anything. I've played a lot of things that a lot of these devs have made, and I've like written scripts for them, and I've like transitioned from someone that's participating in these things to building these things. So I haven't really been like, I've been involved more than anything just as like a big investor. So yeah, in that regard, when I'm like investing in a project I really like, I don't mind getting involved. Um, Even if it's just as like as a consultant or whatever, just kind of helping out with high level stuff and maybe making a couple connections behind the scenes. But um, yeah, there's really just not much. And the real life stuff, would just be like a straight docs that I'm not interested in. But hmm, yeah, not really. Not really that I've been involved in. Just I participate a lot. Zdunk says, if you take the average daily volume since inception and project it out, the subsequent burn rate over time, what is the expected supply and distributed rewards as a function? What is the price elasticity at 3 months, 12 months, and 24 months? And what impact does total amount staked in Whirlpool have on this? I mean, I don't think I'll be able to answer this right now. Yeah, let me get back to you on this. Tabular says, proof, can you speculate as to why Charles even posted this video? Relevant starting point is 6 minutes and 40 seconds. Okay. He says it's a 20-second watch. Let's see what's going on. Let's see if you guys can hear this.
With my mic not powered. I didn't realize I wasn't looking at the comments, and then somebody tapped me on my screen. Oh my lord. Ah.
What what are you trying to do to me, Tay?
It was a pretty epic speech too. It shall forever be known as the speech that wasn't.
Are you trying to say that I've been muted? I don't think I can believe that. I don't think I can believe that right now. I hope not. Okay. Reiko Esguera. Will there be Inferno NFTs as well with an added boost or something? Oh man. You know, there wasn't going to be Inferno NFTs, but man, there should probably be some Inferno NFTs. That just makes sense. And I'm not trying to make any I'm not trying to make any money directly from any of this, to be honest. This is like let's get some volume and activity going for surf while we're waiting for the towel on the beach. So I could maybe look, I've been wanting to make a hot potato. I think if I kind of took hot potatoes back to the drawing board, I'd come up with something cool. Maybe we can figure something out with Inferno hot potato NFT game. Good idea, man. Tom BTC says, does the Inferno staking doesn't go against Surf Stacker in a way? I'm trying to understand this question, Tom. I'm trying. Let me see. Go against. I don't know exactly what you're asking here, but I will say there's no direct link between Surf Stacker and Inferno. I have no plan for that right now. So maybe that helps. Lost Gain says, do we have a release date for Inferno.finance? No. Expo says, will Surf go to the moon or the next galaxy? It sounds like, where do you want it to go? Next galaxy doesn't even sound far enough away, What's your favorite anime? I don't have any. It's not really something I've ever even watched to know. I've heard lots of good things recently about some stuff. Something about like Demon Slayer. Does that sound right? But no, I don't have any. Lost Gain says, did you say you would be adding a swap feature from ETH to XDAI for Inferno.finance? Well, there's these bridges. I think what we're going to try to do is like make our own little UI for it on a subdomain for surf.finance that will just make it super easy. Like you can click the chain that you're trying to send it to and we'll kind of handle that flow for you. But there's those Omni bridges you can use right now and they're pretty easy to use. They have good UIs and I think it's 1 or 2 transactions to get over there. Waging Bull says, pop quiz, hot shot. There's a boogie in the whirlpool. Once the unstake fee goes to 25%, the boogie capitulates. If it drops below 25%, the boogie starts fudding. What do you do? What do you do? Huh. I feel you, man. Oh, ow. 2 says, question. Will Inferno have its own branded Discord or will the investors be directed here? My plan with Surf Launchpad projects was to give each of them their own category in our Surf Discord. I think I want to go that route. I'm not really against Inferno having its own. But I don't know. I like that we have kind of this one big growing community. And I want it to be very clear that Inferno is not like a new project that we're like abandoning Surf for. It's part of the Surf umbrella. So it just makes sense that it's linked into all the other stuff that we have going on here in our awesome community here. So on the Telegram side, it's obviously laid out a lot differently. I could see I mean, I would say for sure it's going to have its own separate Telegram, and we'll like link to it and stuff from our Surf Telegram. Uh, oh, Tay's literally saying for that video, why did he post it at 6 minutes of nothing? Yeah, that's interesting. As long as you weren't saying that my mic has been off this whole time, I'm happy. Randall says, "Are you still comfortable with your investment into the gambling platform of Topia Network?" Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's things are moving along. It's not like there hasn't been any progress at all, and they're going to launch, and then I think it'll be just like Surf, where everybody forgets about the fact that it, took any extra time to launch. People in general are just very impatient. But it's a quality team, and they're making some impressive partnerships and stuff behind the scenes. So I'm really excited about it. And I think actually that's the only token. I kind of forgot about it. I have my own little stack that I need to look at and make sure it's staked and everything before they go live. Bripto says, "So things have been going good with my girlfriend, and I couldn't find anything wrong with her no matter how hard I tried. Well, just a bit ago, things have drastically changed. Should I cut all ties with her, pick related?" The pick says, apparently from Bripto's girlfriend, "What are you up to?" Bripto says, "Listening to Proof's angelic voice in the AMA right now." His girlfriend says, "Angelic, haha. I would say it's soothing." Wow. Okay, so you're literally saying that because she called it soothing and not angelic, like that's not good enough for you, huh? You got to take it easy on her, man. Yes, proof. Dude, the fact that if she's actually listening, that's so cool. Hi, Bripto's girlfriend. Bloudrod says, "How's it, Proof? Glad to hear all is super awesome. Are you going to enter the coming soon Surf Tunes music competition playing the drums or that other thingy, what you call it, Jingy?" Yeah, so that other thingy, man, it's a Rav drum, RAV. It's a brand new instrument, I think out of Russia from like 2012. So it's a steel drum, just like a handpan, except rather than just having dents in the steel, it has tongues. So it's like a cutout in the steel. Um, so you get, I don't know, it's just really cool. You can get this very layered sound with really cool. I don't even know how to describe it. Like it just has a very weird, cool, like room filling sound. So we'll see. I might enter it with like a legit song. I've been writing like the official Surf Finance song for weeks. It's changed like 13 times. Um, but it's still being written, and it gets better and better and better. It's still not good yet, not even close. But I think by like the 30 or 40th iteration, we could be dealing with a song that some of you might have stuck in your head at all hours of the day. I'm known to do that. I'm known to come up with things that you just won't be able to get out of your head. So be prepared. Uh, Dustin says, "Would you consider leaving Surf to join Blue Man Group?" Actually, man, it was the other way around. I left Blue Man Group and now we have Surf. Expo says, "When Drake sing about Surf?" Oh, I don't know if Drake will ever sing about Surf. Malworth 1960. "Can you say hi to my girlfriend too?" Yeah, sure. Hi, Malworth 1960's girlfriend. Randall, I believe, is now getting marketed. The drum I just spoke of. Lost Gain says, "Proof, do voice impression, please." It's so demanding. Oh, you did say please. I mean, yeah, you'd have to like give me a voice or something to do. You can't just put me on the spot. Like that's That's just too many, Obama Obama shilling Inferno to BSC apes. Vincent Price. Man, I'm no joke, like, playing out Obama in my head right now. I don't think it's gonna sound very good. Matthew McConaughey. Mr. Soderbergh, I believe it's time to take my shirt off. When's swell? Yeah, that's a good question. Swell's coming. Gotta figure out, where we're launching the swell. That might be an XDI thing as well. Okay, let me see if I can do this. Obama shilling Inferno to BSC apes. So you'll. I don't think it's gonna. Yeah, it's a fail, guys. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it today. Because I don't know what I'm gonna say. You know, I'm trying to think. I'm coming up with something about claiming your rewards from the whirlpool. I feel like I'm gonna stumble with whirlpool because it's kind of a tongue twister. Let me try that. Whirlpool 5 times fast. Whirlpool, 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 whirlpool. uh, yeah, there's no way, guys. My Obama voice was gonna make it through. Oh, whirlpool, whirlpool, whirlpool. Can you do Joe Biden shilling Inferno to Syrian children? Oh gosh. Walpo. There you go, Dustin. Can you sing us a little bit of your surf song in the making? Oh. Hmm. Hmm. There's like one line I want to share, but it's like the best part of the song. And it's like a part that you're just not expecting. So I might have to save it. Walter White fudding the whirlpool. No, Walter White's smart, man. He would never do that. I try to keep my impressions to things that are realistic. Liam Neeson was second best to Richard Burton. All right, well, I worked through these questions. And let's see if there's been some voting going on. Just yeah, so you guys are aware, use the boost. It's like the rocket surfboard on your favorite questions. I'm going to be sending the top 3 questions, those posters, 100 surf on XDI or BSC, your choice. So that's kind of a cool way to have some surf on those chains if you haven't been able to play around with it yet. Right now, it looks like Bripto's Proof How Have You Been is the winner. And then Randall has a question with 4. Lord W has a question with 4. So yeah, make sure you guys vote. All right, I'm going to hop over to general. How have you guys all been tonight? How is surviving the crypto downturn a little bit? I mean, isn't it crazy? Like Ethereum runs past 1,000 and then it just runs to 2,000 and then people are losing their mind when it's at what 1450 or whatever it is right now. We are in a bull market, y'all. Retraces happen. There's just too much interest right now. Too much institutional interest. Too much interest from a lot of people. I mean, I'm talking to people now all the time that have never considered crypto before, been overwhelmed by it, and they're, opening up to it. They're interested now and they want to learn these things. So it just seems like we could be right at the bottom of something, to be honest. Who knows how long this can actually go. and if it'll ever need to actually have like really, really terrible bear markets again. Well, I'm assuming there will always be extreme volatility in crypto, but I would guess that like the days of $5,000 Bitcoin are gone. We'll see. But it just seems unlikely at this point with the big names that are getting involved. Lost Gain in general says, "Are you watching any series right now?" Proof. Yeah. I haven't been watching anything for a long time. I've probably been like 6 months. And then pretty recently, my wife and I turned on, um, man, what is that? It's on Netflix. It's like Don't F with Cats, I wanna say. It's only like 3 episodes. I'm sure many of you have watched that, but we've watched 2, which I guess it's more like a movie, when you're talking about something that short. But that's the thing I've most recently been getting into, and we were actually talking about it today, how we still have that final episode to watch. But yeah, he seems like a total weirdo. Um, okay, so Cecil Hotel and Behind Her Eyes. Those sound interesting. What are you reading right now? Hmm. I'm still in that one, that Og Mandino book, The Greatest Miracle in the World. I'm also in I'm reading some pretty interesting books. I think there's one called the Saturn Time Cube Simulation or something by this dude on Twitter. That's kind of interesting. What's your favorite video game of all time? It's got to be Halo. Just in terms of raw memories and good times. That was I was pretty young, like when Halo 2 came out and it revolutionized, well, Halo 2 revolutionized the online multiplayer for consoles. And then I got real good at Halo 2, and then Halo 3 came out, and I was really good at Halo 3. I was young. I was probably like 13 or 14, and I think I made it to like level 48. I mean, I feel like that's pretty good as a kid for that game. I loved Halo. And then more recently, Rocket League. Rocket League is one of those that, the a massive skill ceiling, almost impossible to master, really fun to play once you get good at it. And it's been a while since I've been able to play that game. But the way I was doing it, I had I think it was 115 or 120-inch projector screen, and it was a low latency projector, so it wasn't like horrible. And playing Rocket League on that screen, obviously it's better for like party play, like if you had 2 or 3 people over and you needed split screen. But when you're just playing solo and your car is as big as your body, there was something really cool about that. And I was always playing 1v1s. I don't know what it was about it. I think maybe just not having to rely on anybody else. Sorry, 120-inch projector. I don't think I said foot, Brypto. Um, but yeah, I mean, still a massive screen, and especially when you're like, I think I was 10 or 11 feet from the screen, so I was like in the game. I was driving around on my car. I was like surfing on my car. That's how big it was. And I would do a lot of solo, and I think I made it to, actually, I need to see the ranks. I don't know. It's been a while. It's been over a year, but I was doing pretty well. I was good. Better than every person in my life. VR sounds cool for Rocket League. How do you rate our accomplishments versus those that compete in the real world and go to the Olympics? Like our accomplishments on the blockchain, Randall, or for video games like Rocket League? Because if it's well, let's see what you say. I mean, definitely an interesting debate. You can't stake in the Olympics, so I'd say surf is more important. I'm trying to figure it out, Wage and Bull. I don't, let me see. Rocket League ranks explained. Like, when did they last overhaul ranks? Okay, here we go. So I made it to Plat. I think I made it to Plat 2 1v1, maybe Plat 3. And I want to say at the time there was something about uh they Psyonix, the original, I think it's all like moved to Epic Games, but the original creator Psyonix had come out and said that the 1v1 lobby had like way more difficulty than the other ones, and I found that to be true because I think I was playing doubles with somebody one time and I made it to like Diamond 2 pretty dang quickly with them, and I was smoking them all the time 1v1. Um, so yeah, not as it's been a long time though. One thing I did find with Rocket League is that anytime I gave it a long break and then came back, I was playing out of my mind, like in a good way. So I'd be very interested to see what more than a year off of Rocket League would look like. Oh wow, champ. Hot diggity dog, man. You're a beastly player. What is the point of the Olympics? Oh, I don't know. Just to honor a very long tradition, I guess. Allow some countries to show off wealth. All right, I'm gonna. Okay, I'm hopping back to AMA questions. I don't totally know what that exchange is, but okay. I think I made it through everything. I think I covered everything I wanted to. Uh, hopefully, you guys are excited. There'll be a lot more coming out about this stuff. We'll try to get the logo and things like that out to you soon so that you're kind of excited about it. And yeah, thank you very much for tuning in to Surfcast number 4. I hope you guys have all been well. Please stay in touch, ask your questions, keep suggesting things. I'm reading through all of it. There've been a lot of really solid ideas recently. I actually do just want to point out, John 888, man, thank you for all of the awesome suggestions you've been giving. And I just want to make sure you are fully aware of the fact that we're reading them and we're trying to incorporate them. There's just so many things in motion right now. It's all about, how we prioritize things. And I would love to bring a lot of your ideas to life, though. So thank you for sharing them. And I think that's it. So thank you again, guys. We will do another one of these fairly soon. I'll let you guys know what the deal is with that interview tomorrow. That should be fun. Check out that guy, Nomad Fury. I think he should grow. I think his head is in the right place. He's really trying to educate people in the right way. So to me, it makes a lot of sense to like grow as a project and as a community alongside YouTubers like that we can potentially help give a boost to, and then in the long run they'll be giving us a boost as well. So mutual beneficial relationships are always what we're chasing. So I'll get you guys an announcement once I have the details on that. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in and hope you guys have a good one. Talk to you later.